All right, we are live. April 20, Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is happening, and the Bitcoin halving as well. So we're getting this major conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus, two very powerful planets that are representing the expansion of technology, the expansion of this maverick type energy, new beginnings. And we're also getting the Bitcoin halving on the same day. Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you're tuning in from in this beautiful world. And welcome back to the Bitcoin and crypto. It's usually a paradise, but we are seeing a big dump here. However, hey, could be a paradise if we're looking at this as a buy opportunity. But none of this is financial advice. I'm just saying what I'm doing, what I'm thinking. This content is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. All right, so the obvious thing here is that we are getting massive liquidations. All right, so if we look at, whoopsies, if we look here at the liquidations, we have, in the last 24 hours, it looks like $920 million have been liquidated. And that's 823 million longs were liquidated. This is people that were betting, basically betting on the markets going up. And what happened? The markets tanked. All right, so very significant. Bitcoin just dumped very far here. This is quite the dump from where we were, I think yesterday. We just dumped 8% about there. And altcoins are dumping even more, if you didn't notice. So the reason I'm not like feeling super sad is because luckily, well, no, it's following my strategy. I took out 10% of my cash already, so I am putting a bit more cash into the market here. I am buying some of this, as that is basically my strategy. I was not expecting the markets to dump this early, but you know, there could be some market manipulation here. However, and mainly just liquidations of all these. What people do is they set a long order. They bet, usually, you know, let's say up here, they bet that the market is going to go up. So this green area is kind of representing, they were betting that Bitcoin's going to go up. However, when it goes down, typically people have stop losses. And so, you know, potentially millions of stop losses were hit and people had to sell because they were not expecting this dump here. So then it's cascading sell orders that get executed, and it creates this big dump here. But if we look at the altcoins such as Solana, let's see how far this dump was. Solana was already looking weak, and then it just dumped, wow, about 20% from there. How far is that from the top? From the top, Solana dumped from this previous peak all the way down to here. 32% dump. That's a healthy dump right there. So the question is, are we going down further or are we going to head back up? Now, let me show you this. I did make this video 6 days ago warning you guys of this situation. I said April 14th, I see a Solana accumulation before a mega pump. And let me play this for you really quick. Yeah. Okay. So we have April 14th. We have a bit of some bearish astrology. Neptune conjunct the Solana Mercury. Mercury is the planet of trading, buying and selling. And Neptune, typically can bring some confusion to the market. So typically with Neptune, we typically see some dumps, and we see some lower price action All right, I actually have a new mic set up here, so I'm actually not sure if you guys can hear that or not. Just in case you cannot, what I was saying in this video is that I was predicting that we are going to get a dump when we get this transit here. Neptune conjuncting the Solana Mercury was looking quite bearish. So I was actually, personally, I was seeing this as a great buying opportunity. Now we still have, I guess, more than 24 hours until we get to that point. But possibly we're getting an early dump here, and that can definitely happen, especially during Mercury retrograde. We can talk a bit more about that. So let's look at the astrology here. Like this video if you want me to take a look at the Solana astrology, as well as the general astrology that we have going on here. And as always, type any questions you have in the chat box, because we are live. All right, so this is the general astrology. Mercury is retrograde. It has the red numbers here, and is going to continue to go backwards. That's the retrograde. So from the point of view of planet Earth, it's going backwards. And yeah, so we are getting Mercury retrograde until April 25th. So typically markets get sideways action or a dump. So we are getting that dump. But it is going to conjunct Chiron, which is not the greatest. And then we also have, let's see, we had the Saturn conjunct Mars that happened a couple days ago that I warned you guys about. I said we could be getting a dump here soon. We got the dump a little bit late, and that happens sometimes. And then, like we're going to talk about on the topic of this video, we're going to get this huge Jupiter conjunct Uranus. All right, Jupiter is a planet that expands things, and it's going to get this exact conjunction with Uranus, the planet of technology, the planet of really the human collective as well, but also the maverick energy. It's kind of a paradox. It like represents the, collective human consciousness, but also each one of us as unique individuals. But on the topic of crypto, it represents technology and decentralization. So perhaps this day, April 20th, will mark the beginning of a new, I believe, 13-year cycle of expansion of technology, artificial intelligence, crypto, self-driving vehicles, all these things, automation, and it's expanding that. All right, but this is a big 13-year cycle. So it doesn't just happen overnight. So that's why I'm not expecting Bitcoin to just like go off on a crazy all-time high by April 20th. That is possible, but I'm not betting on that necessarily. We can talk a bit more about that. But for the long term, think about the next 13 years. This is extremely bullish for crypto, for AI, and all of these new technologies, and decentralization. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Now, on the topic of crypto, we can take a look at the Bitcoin astrology. So let's see what we got here. We already passed this bullish Jupiter sextile to Bitcoin Uranus. And we did get a pump around April 9th there. But after this, let's see. Now we're heading into, oh no, we're not there yet, but soon we're going to get this Uranus square Neptune, which is pretty bearish. That's happening May 2nd, but it's in effect April 15th in a couple days here. However, we're also getting positives as well. We're also getting this positive Jupiter trining the Bitcoin Saturn, which is bullish, but then another negative Jupiter square the Bitcoin Neptune. So interesting mix of positive and negative astrology towards the end of April. So we could see a shift in the markets. We could see increased volatility, like we're already seeing. We're seeing very high volatility. And then we also get another bullish Uranus trine the Bitcoin Saturn. So we get one positive, one negative here, then a positive, and then a negative. So it's almost even. It could almost go either way. The good news is we're already getting a dump today. All right, we're already getting this big dump here. And we got a daily close for Solana at 153. Wow. Definitely hit my buy signal there, so I bought some Solana today. Pretty happy about that. And then Bitcoin got a daily close. I don't know why it says that. Bitcoin got a daily close at 67,129. But we really just want to see on this next daily close where it's going to end up. And then the next thing we want to look at is the weekly close. Let me pull this. Where are we at for the weekly? Because the week is going to be finishing up here soon. You know, we're down this level. But the next week starts on April 15th. So we have a couple more days. In the next 2 days, we want to bounce up pretty quickly. Want to bounce up around this blue line here. And that's around this level, 67. I mean, if we could get to 68,000, that'd be good to close the week. But in particular, we do not want to go down below this level right here, this weekly close, which is 64,464. I could make a line there. We do not want to head down below that line there, as that would then create a lower low. We don't want to see that. We want to keep stair-stepping upwards. We want to keep creating a higher low. Want to be stair-stepping up like this. Yeah, I don't know. It looks kind of weird there, but we want to stair-step upwards. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I also want to look, this is very, very, very important as well. And this can help us get a clear picture of what we could be seeing this month. This is the daily exchange volume, which not many people talk about. This is very important here. As you can see, we were peaking out around March 11th when Bitcoin was getting the all-time high around there in March. And we had a lower high here before we just fell off a cliff, really. And the last time this happened was back right after the Bitcoin ETF release. Then the daily exchange volume fell off, and the Bitcoin price fell off through the rest of January, heading into February, before the daily exchange volume started building up and then really shooting up in March. All right, and then we got the all-time high, and things were going well, but then we just fell off a cliff here. All right, so what we might be seeing is something similar to this, where we start bottoming out here. We still, it doesn't look like we found a bottom yet. All right, and if we zoom in, things are still falling off. All right, so this could happen. I mean, it happened here for many, many weeks. So we could have a few more weeks before we start heading back up. And so that's what we could be seeing if we keep heading down and we're bottoming out. We could just see sideways price action for a few weeks here. So we could see continuing this range in here potentially. Maybe we get back up here in this triangle. Maybe we're just kind of ranging through April potentially. I mean, even beginning of May, isn't the most bullish astrology for Bitcoin. It's really tough to predict here. There's a lot of things to take into account. The good news is that, like I said, we got this dump already. And if we look at the altcoin chart and get a bit more clarity, Solana's at 149. But let's look at the total three. This is the altcoins excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. We just got a lower low here. If we go on the weekly, yeah, we got a lower low. Typically that's bearish. However, there could be a chance that this is bullish. And I think I remember where this was. I believe it was back in 2017, if I can find it. Where the altcoins were heading up, but then they got that, they got a similar lower low price action. I think it was here. And I got to zoom in. Sorry, guys. It's a little... Sometimes these charts are a little tricky. So we got to go back to 2017, and the altcoins were heading up, but then they had a final kind of major dump. But it was just a correction. It was just a big correction before they started heading back up. All right, this is going slowly. Let me know what questions you guys have in the chat. We are live here. All right, let me take a look at the chat. Good morning from New York. Beautiful. Just Chevy is a buying opportunity, effect of the solar eclipse, Middle East crisis, Israel versus Iran, tax season. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the great point. This could definitely be due to tax season as people were taking profits potentially for their taxes. Can't believe Solana is below 150. I know, that's why I'm buying it. HK, is that Hong Kong Bitcoin ETF is due on Monday? Oh, interesting. Haven't heard of that one. Yes. Thanks for appreciating the live videos here. Or does it mean Skynet takes over, JP? Skynet. I'm not sure about that. When astrologically should we be out of the bearish astrology? That's a tough question. That's a tough question. It could be this summer, but I'm not certain. We do get some bearish astrology this summer. So that might be a time to do that, but I cannot give any specifics on that right now. But it seems like there's a lot of fear in the markets right now. Typically, I mean, I think of that as a good time to buy. But that's just me. Now, we could be seeing something like this in the markets right now, where the altcoins, you know, were heading up the last few weeks, kind of falling off, getting boring, and then we got this big collapse, and that lasted a couple days there. It did bounce back up, and then we kind of stair-stepped our way back up here, and this took... We could take a look at how many days this took. But it's potential that we're seeing something like this right now. All right, and this took from the peak, you can choose here, from the peak until it started heading back up, really, was about 62 days until it really started to head back up. Once again, this is the altcoins. Now let's do the same for here. And actually, I already had a prediction that was this line here, which might be very similar to what we might predict here. So that was about 62 days. Oh, that's pretty similar. to my previous prediction. 62 days would take us out to May 15th, which potentially lines up pretty well with the astrology, that we could start heading up in May. However, it could be a blow off top. We could be seeing some sort of a short-term blow off top, May to June possibly. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking right now, but it's not like guaranteed. I mean, there's a lot that goes into this. A lot depends on the Fed, what the Fed is going to decide to do with the interest rates. So that's, yeah, we could be going sideways, perhaps through Mercury retrograde. You know, like I said in the beginning, Mercury retrograde. All right, let's look at the Fear and Greed Index. Typically, with the Bitcoin Fear and Greed, I think we need to reload to see what we get today. I'd be surprised if we're still in extreme greed after this 10% dump. Well, let's see what comes up here. Wow, we're still in greed. People are still feeling greedy. That is pretty amazing, actually. The next update will happen in 20 hours. That is surprising that people are still feeling greedy. Because I know there's also a good amount of fear in the markets. Very interesting. Okay, let's look at the total market cap. Total market cap, we still got a higher low here. We did not go below this level. That's potentially a bit bullet. We did not go below the 0.618, which I've been talking about for many videos, that we should not go below this level because we did not in the last cycle. All right. So I've pretty much gone through everything here. We got this big dump today. Good news for me is I was able to buy it. You can make your own decisions on that. With Bitcoin, we're still getting a higher low, even with that dump. Now, the altcoins took a much bigger hit. Now, potentially that's bearish for altcoins, or if the altcoins really rebound strongly, we could move into an altcoin run. That's possible. I'm not saying that's guaranteed. That's what I'm preparing for personally, but it's more risk. I'm taking on more risk to doing that. So most likely, as I've been saying, volatility potentially for the next few weeks, heading into May. All right, potentially sideways action. We definitely want to see us start to head up more with the altcoins. Ideally, we get a pretty strong recovery and we get up to these levels. Definitely like to see that. But I'll be keeping my eye on this, looking very closely at these charts. Very interesting. All right, let's see what other comments. Will May and June be better for Bitcoin? I think so. The astrology is looking pretty good in May. As well for Solana is looking very good in May. All right, Polar Bear Man started buying. Me too. Summer have some Mercury retrogrades. No. True, Feds should cut rates in June to pump the market. Yeah, we'll see what the Fed does. We will see. All right. Very interesting. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you are interested in learning more about crypto astrology, check out my Bali retreat. It's happening September 7th through 14th. All right, and you can click the link in the box below. I have a link in there. Check out the retreat. Look at the FAQ. Read through the whole page. If you want to get the early bird rate, sign up before the end of this month. All you got to do is send in your deposit, then your spots get secured. All right, we already have 5 people signed up for September. All right, for this amazing September retreat in Bali, the beautiful island of Bali. Definitely want to jump on this before spots fill up. And we're going to be perfecting your crypto strategy. All right. The number one reason people don't maximize their profits, people don't succeed in crypto, is because they don't have a solid strategy that they follow step by step. Because otherwise, emotions get the best of them, euphoria gets the best of them. Like the last cycle, everyone thought Bitcoin was going up to, 200K, 300K, $1 million. That didn't happen. People lost a ton of money, if they sold in particular. If they have a solid crypto strategy that they follow, they will have a plan to take profits towards the top and gain those profits and actually benefit their lives so they can achieve their goals. So check that out in the link below. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I'll see you guys in the next videos. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll have more updates coming soon on the Bitcoin astrology, Solana astrology. I might look at some other altcoins, Cardano. Oh, I also have an Ethereum Q2 video come up. So definitely keep your eye out for that. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.